Wait, let's turn on some music. We have some music here. Where did it go? There we go. You'll have to tell me if the music is too loud, though, because I can't hear it. Hello. We're here. Where's my chat? Hold on. I know how to stream. Here we go. All my information. Perfect. Hello. Welcome. You can't hear the music? Okay, hold on. And you hear it now. I also need it to not be super loud, so. It took a second, though. Can you hear it now? Okay. All right. I'm here. It's Friday. And normally I have a video out at this time. Because I don't know, I've been really good about it this year. Last year I was crap. Like, I didn't schedule on time ever, just like posted stuff whenever I felt like it. This year I've been pretty good. I think every week I've had something at this time on YouTube, which is pretty good, right? Maybe. So I just didn't have time, partially because I'm like fighting burnout. I've done way too much stuff in the last like month, and just a lot of stuff has happened that I fell behind, and I haven't had like a moment to breathe. So this week I decided to take it super easy because one, we just finished Tekko, where we took all of our stuff and sold a bunch of stuff, and that meant that we had like a surplus of notebooks, right? Because we make stuff to take to the con. So shop is stocked, everything is good. So it was just the video stuff, and I was like, I don't wanna push myself to make video content that's not good either. And I was like, well, I could just stream. So here we are. There's really no plan for this stream. It's more like ask me questions, drop stuff in the chat, chat with me, because otherwise this might be a very boring stream. But yeah, so I did think, though, I could show off all of the stuff that I made, or that I bought, even worse, that I bought from Tekko, because I've got some cool stuff. I've got some stuff that's just been sitting here waiting for me to review it. I've just got like a whole bunch of little things I think I could share. So I was considering at least showing you guys kind of like my haul, my Tekko haul, if you will. And then if we have time, of course, I could always make maps, but I only plan on streaming for like maybe an hour, and just chatting with you guys. So let's start with some of the haul, shall we? We'll start with the non-D&D related stuff, because I guess I could just talk about Tekko in general, though, too. I sold 148 items, which is pretty good. Tekko, size-wise, had about 10,000 attendees this year, which is pretty good. I think last year they were just under 10,000, so it did went up slightly. But regardless, I did feel like people were spending more. I don't know if it's just like economy's slightly better. I don't think it is, personally, but yeah, so I ended up selling quite a bit, but I did not break even. I was about $66 short. And this is not counting like stuff like marketing, though, because there's not really a monetary value you can put on word of mouth marketing. You know what I mean? And it's literally only been a week. I do tend to see an influx of orders the week after, or the couple weeks after. And I also gave out a coupon for free shipping for people who are at Tekko, which will expire. So I'll be able to know by the end of July whether or not it was like super worth it or not. Regardless, I'm not going back to Tekko next year. So if you were expecting me to be there every year, too bad. Because partially it's not really my target market, and it's an anime convention, right? I mean, obviously I sell D&D stuff, so it's not really my target market, though they have a good size like RPG wing. They literally have a whole place, like a whole section of the con devoted to like gaming, which is great, but it's not very active because it's not like that's not what people go to Tekko for. Okay, so while there's crossover, it's not really my target market. The only reason I have been going is one, I used to volunteer for them, so I know a lot of the people there, so it's good to like reconnect with people I really only see once a year. And then the other thing is I don't want to say they owe me, but they owe me a little bit. So they kind of put me in a good spot, and like they put me on an end cap, which is great. They really work with me to get me in and that kind of stuff. So yeah, so it all worked out, but it's really not the best place to sell my journals and stuff. So yeah, other cons I've been trying to get into, if you're in the Pennsylvania, like Pittsburgh area, you will have known like Steel City Con, which again, that's a comic con. Crossover is there. I don't know how well I would do there. But regardless, the next Steel City Con is August 9th through 10th, like that weekend or whatever, or 8th through 10th, or I don't know, whatever that weekend is. And so I want to go to a Steel City Con, but every time that I get, like every time I reach out, I just get like, oh, so-and-so will help you, and then nothing. So I don't know. I do know that their next one is in December, because they tend to have 2 a year. And so they open up their vendors application. If this is boring, you guys gonna have to ask questions, because otherwise we might talk about this crap all day. But the application for vendors opens on the 11th of August, so I'll try to make sure I apply. But the other thing I know with cons is that they give like first come first serve people. So they give like people who've been there forever like priority, which I understand to an extent, but that makes it really hard for people like me who are newer to get into the field. And then also my business is so small. I am more of an artist than a vendor, and so sometimes the prices are expensive. I'm talking about Steel City Con. They're like, for some reason they never answer me. Which is fine. I understand, like most times cons have like just volunteers, and so I totally get it. Depends on the con. Some of them it's literally first come first serve, so the best typists are the ones that get in. Yeah, and I'm a slow typist, and I have a lot of typos. If you're in the Discord, you'll know. But yeah, it is. Some of them are like literally first come first serve, and that sucks. Tekko is not like that for their artist alley, which I really like too, which is why I also go. Like they work with me because I volunteered for a few years there, and so like I kind of have first dibs, but not really. They still vet their artist alley, but they don't vet the vendors. That's like first come first serve, so it's really strange. Yeah, especially with artist alley at Acon, if you didn't have macros set up when their site went live, you had no chance. 400 boosts sold out in less than 30 seconds. That's crazy. So I've also been considering, so when I was at Tekko, a lady she worked another booth. She was a vendor, and she worked, it was like a wig booth, but it also had like jewelry and like cosmetic kind of stuff, for like cosplaying and that kind of thing. And she was like, you should go to Gen Con and take your stuff. And let me just tell you, as much as I want to go to Gen Con, one, I should go as an attendee first. I'm holding business cards, if anybody's wondering. Those are the people I bought shit from. I shouldn't swear on stream. But I want to go to Gen Con as like an attendee first to get my bearings, because it's a huge thing. Apparently last year they had 70,000 people, like attendees. That's crazy. And so the pressure would be totally on. And I am a little nervous about that. Plus I'd have to make all that stuff to bring. Plus, even if I go, like, if I were to apply to take my stuff to Gen Con, it would be for the entrepreneurs like alley or avenue or whatever they call it. And, that's still $1,800. I'm a really tiny business. I have 2 people in my shop. We don't typically make that much money. Now, granted, it's 7 times the size of Tekko, right? Tekko had 10,000 attendees. So this one has 70,000 attendees. So marketing wise alone, it would be worth it, but it's still a huge commitment. And then I also worry, like, okay, so assuming that you sell to about 2% of the people, which is not 100% accurate, I think I sell to about 1.5% of the attendees, right? Because I did I sold 140 items, almost 150 items at Tekko. So assuming I sell to 1% of the market, that's still like 1,000 notebooks I have to bring, you know? And that's a lot of work. That, one, it's a lot of work. Two, not all that's gonna fit in my car. And then I have to drive to Indianapolis because I'm like near Pittsburgh, which I think is like a 5 or 6 hour drive. I looked it up at one point. So it would be, I don't want to say it would be hell, but it could be hell. And if I run out of stuff, then it's disappointing to people who are there. And then that's not a good customer experience. And then it really wasn't worth it because people don't want to shop with me because they're like, oh, they run out of stuff all the time. I mean, do you go to smaller cons? So smaller cons are not always profitable for me. That's the word I'm looking for. I go to PGX, which is like a gaming con. So again, not tabletop though. It's like video games, which is smaller. I've been trying to get into a couple other ones. I've gone to a couple small anime ones in Pennsylvania. The other thing too is I'm trying to stick to PA because as soon as I went to one in Ohio, so then I had to get licensing, sales licensing for Ohio, and it was like a whole freaking thing, and it's fine now. I just have it, but like, hi Flint. But it's a lot of work to like get all of the, why are you wet? That's concerning, Flinty. Okay, it's just water, but concerning nonetheless. But yeah, so it's a whole lot of work to like set up to sell in different states too. But yeah, there's SetsuCon I've been to anime wise. There's another anime one I can't remember the name of right now. There was one near the Poconos that I almost went to, but then I got sick, so I had to cancel. They are useful for networking. The problem is I'm not very good at networking. I'm sad I can't watch live. I'm headed to the movies. Oh, well, have fun at the movies. Oh, they're helping me find my footing in Foundry. That's good. I try, I guess. I try to help people. Ow, Flinty, your claws. Okay. But yeah, so I don't know. I want to do Gen Con, of course, because I'd be freaking crazy. But it would be so much work. So that's like in the next 5 years, maybe, goal. I think the next one I'm trying to get into, which is also big, but more, I think, Tekko level big, is PAX Unplugged, which is in Philadelphia. Still like a 4-hour drive, but it's in PA, so I don't have to get extra sales tax licensing. Ow, Flint. And all of that. So I think that's the one. I did email. I think they open, I don't know how, there's no standard. Okay, there's no standard for signing up for cons. So it's like, it's just completely, it's a free-for-all. So you don't know how you're supposed to submit applications half the time or when they open, and like none of them, and like for Tekko, they just put it on social media, and they don't even they put it on the website, but unless you like go and check the website constantly, which I'm not gonna do, no one has time for, the best way is through social media. And do you know how crappy the Facebook algorithm is for me? It sucks. I just get junk for babies, and that's it. Here, buy this for your baby. Doesn't she want to be Montessori smart or whatever? And I'm like, I don't care about these things. PAX Unplugged is on my to-do list eventually. How big is it? I don't know. I'd have to look it up again, but I think it's Tekko level. So Tekko had about 10,000. But I don't know, because last year they had Matt Mercer, and I feel like if you can get big names like that, then maybe it's bigger. But also Tekko might be getting big names. I just don't know because I don't know those voice actors. When I watch anime, I watch it in Japanese, so I know Japanese voice actors, which they don't get at Tekko, obviously. We do get Japanese bands though, which is pretty cool. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know exactly. I'd have to look it up. But yeah, it's on the to-do list. I hope. Origins in Ohio is about 16K. I also did one in Ohio. What was it called? I cannot remember. It was in Cleveland. Maybe someone else can tell me. I can't remember. Cleveland Gaming Expo. No, Cleveland Gaming Classic. Is that what it is? CGC? I think it's CGC. I don't know. That one I wasn't happy with. It was smaller, but it was a lot of work to take all my stuff out there. And then also though, the people who were supposed to go with me canceled going with me. And so then I had this whole Airbnb for like 8 people and it was just me and my husband. So I lost out on that, but I didn't count that towards my profit margins because that's on them for not showing up. But then it was just not very busy. The year before they said they had like record attendance and it was like close to, I want to say they said like 5,000 or something. And I was like, okay. And then the way they set up the vendors hall was horrible. And I just think that was growing pains for them because they got a bigger space. And then everybody was just like all over the place. And technically I signed up for like an artist booth. And typically what people do is that at conventions is they put the artists together because that they kind of like boost each other. How big is PGX? I think PGX is like a couple thousand. It's not like super big. But yeah, I think the artist alley there, all the artists were like spread out. So then pretty much all the artists were hurting. And then they also have a lot of like resellers. So they resell like games and retro stuff. And that was great. But then you had like retro stuff and then small business and then retro stuff and then a vendor. And it was like, because it was kind of disorganized, I think in general, artists did really bad because I talked to a lot of the other artists there. And they were like, yeah, I haven't sold, like, this isn't even worth it. This isn't going to cover costs. And I think part of that is because we aren't like close together. So yeah. Have you gone to SibCon in Butler? No, but it sounds familiar. So I might have looked into it. But I cannot remember. But yeah, it's hard for me too because going to cons means I have to have a babysitter for Mia. And then also like my stuff is heavy. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm not very strong. So I have to have, it's much better to have like a partner in crime, which used to be my husband. So, but now someone has to watch baby. So he stays home with baby and then it's just me. And I do have my sister who works for the business now, but she is, she has to take care of the shop while I'm gone. So we don't have to close the shop so she can make journals and, ship them out while I'm not there. So it's kind of hard. I just need to hire like one burly man and then I don't know who that would be. But I also don't have the money to hire a third person at the moment. But yeah, it's a lot of work for one person and I can do it. It's just more trips to and from the car. And I do have like dollies, of course, and whatever. I have Squanto to get all my stuff off the 3rd floor. But I do have a like behind the scenes video that I'm going to release, but I'm going to put it up for members only because I'm not editing it at all. I'm literally just slapping all the video together and then we're going to publish it. And because I feel like members only for that one, just because like I like to take time and like put effort into videos. And that's why they take me forever. And even though I have someone who he edits and cuts out all the ums and the filler words and like shortens things for me and helps make sure that it kind of makes sense. That is only like I mean, that's a lot of work, and I don't envy him, but that's only like half the job. The other half is like, you know, the dynamic zoom and the B-roll. And I don't know if you can hear my cat right now, but she is yelling. My other cat, not Flinty. That's Ash. She's noisy. But she's mad because I think Bryden, my husband, just went outside. But yeah, so let's talk about some of the stuff I found. First, we should talk about the non D&D related stuff, because maybe it's less interesting. I have to take this blanket off. It's cold in the basement. But okay, so I met a Helldiver. I don't know if anybody here plays Helldivers, but he had full like armor, like 3D printed helmet. I didn't take a picture, which hindsight is 2020. But he had like the breastplate. He had like full armor on. He had a cape, which was embroidered by his wife, and I was like, this is freaking fabulous. And I was stuck in my booth, and I was like, sir, can you come here? And he was like, what? He was like concerned. And I was like, I just want to know if you made your cosplay by yourself. Like if this is like handmade or if you had it like printed or whatever. And he was like telling me all the details on it. And then the next day he came back and he gave me a 3D printed, it's kind of blurry. There you go. A super credit. I got a super credit. So it's been sitting on my desk. Because I haven't played Helldivers in a hot minute. But last I played, I was over level 50? I don't know. Evan would know. Maybe. So there was that. But I didn't buy that. So that was free. That was just from asking people about their cosplay. Next, though, this one wasn't free. But if you cannot tell, I really like The Legend of Zelda. This is just part of my collection. Obviously I have a sword. There's a shield up there. You can't see it. I could move the camera though, I guess. Whoop. There it is. There's the shield and my poster from getting the oops, God. Okay, now we're gonna be a little weird. Okay, but this poster's from waiting in line at Best Buy for Breath of the Wild. I was number 3. Number 2 being my sister. I got, you know, the Historia. I got a collection of Zelda stuff, and it's growing all the time. I even have, well, it's fine. Regardless, I went to Tekko and I saw this and I had to have it. And if you've played Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, maybe you would understand. But it is a little Korok. And he's very cute. He's stained glass, like made out of stained glass. He has this little stand that looks a lot like what you find in the game. So he's cool. This is from, I need to share the name because it's important. The Grain and the Glass. This was his first time being at a con, and he had like selling his stained glass stuff. And yeah, so I'll show a little business card. The Grain and the Glass, and his information. Maybe I'll put it in. You cannot read that. I will put it in the description, maybe. But if you can find them on Etsy and Instagram. But they had other things, and it was kind of funny because I come up and I'm dressed for working the con, which means I have D&D stuff on. I have like a D&D dice shirt on. I've like, of course I have a dice shirt. Why would I not have a dice shirt? I have like my Dungeon Master like shirt on. I had my skirt on that had like the little beholders and stuff on it. And so I'm dressed to the nines in like D&D related stuff because it's Saturday. And I walk up and he has these very beautiful like D20s that are stained glass, like hanging, you can hang on your window or whatever. And he has like, I guess he had the big ampersand, but I missed it. He just had all these like cool D&D stuff. And I'm like, yeah, no, I don't want the D&D stuff. I want this. So, but yeah, he's going to go on the windowsill over here. Speaking of a grizzled con veteran, one thing you can do to improve sales if you do a lot of cash business, I only gave change in $2 bills and dollar coins. You can, so because my stuff is more expensive, back to the con, ops kind of thing. Because my stuff is more expensive, typically people use a credit card more often than paying cash. It increases sales about 10 to 20% just from the novelty, and the other vendors come back to hand in. Well, so what I do is I give a really cool business card. And actually the business card brings more people to my booth than anything else. Because I will hand it out to anybody who stops by and just looks at stuff, because that's what they're for. And I don't even have one on me. Yeah, they're not, I don't think my bag's upstairs. So, but it's a D20. It's black. It feels very nice, and it has like gold on it, and it's obviously got all my information on it. And I give them that, and then the amount of people, probably 50% of the people after like the first half of the day who come by my shop are like, "Oh, you're the one with the cool business card." So I have my own gimmicks, but yeah, there's that. So anyway, that was the one thing that wasn't like super con related or D&D related that I got at con. The next thing I got is this really cool bracelet. I was wearing it, but then I was playing games, and so it was really hard. It's really hard to play with this thing on, but it's made out of copper, and it's got these tiny handmade acrylic dye in it. This one's teal. I also bought one for my mother because she wanted one, and also because she watched Baby. But that is from these people, the Copper Hippo. They have a QR code, but they have a website. You're not going to be able to use the QR code because it's blurry as F. Yeah, so I bought those. They had a lot of other cool like bracelets and stuff, but if you're not a girl, maybe you're not into that. I don't know. So there was that. And then of course, I bought dice. But I also bought this. He's a mimic. Any open. There's the dice are in there. This was from Misty Mountain Gaming. This guy, which I don't think is handmade. He doesn't feel handmade to me. But he's cool. And of course dice, which the dice themselves were like $60. But look at them. Hold on. Gotta give it a good shake. Oh, you can't see. Crap. I'm gonna have to like, if you're on the Discord, you already saw it, honestly. Hello, focus. No focus. Oh, there it is. There's glitter inside. Okay, have good lunch, or I guess lunch is over. But yeah, they're pink and blue, and they have glitter inside. Do they match any of my other die? No. But they're from Misty Mountain Gaming. I just buy dice that I like. I don't have, some people are like, oh, they all have to match and they have to fit an aesthetic. Nah, I just want all the dice. So I will buy anything that I like. And those ones are really cool. They also had some cool metal ones, which were actually cheaper than that. Probably because the liquid core. But I don't know. I just really liked those. And I didn't want to buy more than one set of die. Which this one doesn't count. This doesn't count. Hi, you made it. Welcome. We're just talking about my haul from the con. But anyway, so there's that. That's pretty much, did I get anything else? Pretty sure that's everything I bought. I was really good. Normally I come home with like 4 or 5 sets of dice. I was telling someone, who was I telling? Probably Evan, that I would love for people to send me dice. Like, that's how I'll know if I made it as a D&D YouTuber, is when they start sending me free die. The other thing I got recently that I thought I would share from Portugal, that's pretty cool, is this I got for my anniversary, and it just came in. I haven't even opened it. Oh god, it's heavy. But I got this. Art and Arcana. So it's like, I haven't even taken it out of plastic. I don't know if I want to take it out of the plastic. It feels collectible. So I'm like, I don't know. But this is, if you've not seen it before, this is like a, I guess you would say like a history book of sorts. on like art for D&D through the years, and it gives you like a really cool look at all of it. I do want to open it, but I'm like, I don't know if I'll think about it more. But my stepdad has one that he got from his dad, and I was looking through it, and it's so beautiful. Like the art, it's so cool to me to see how the art has like transitioned over the years. Like obviously in the beginning as a very small group of people, they didn't have a lot of artists, but it was still really good in their own ways. So I don't know, I like that kind of stuff. Books are to be opened and loved. You are not wrong. I will open it, but I don't want to open it on stream. I feel like it's too much pressure. I do know that it has like special stuff in the inside, like posters and that kind of thing. But yeah, it's a visual history. Look it up if you haven't seen it before, because it's pretty. So I got that. And then the other thing I have that we could talk about is also on, it's heavy too. It's like, I don't know. It's heavier than Flint. And Flint's like 10 pounds. Sorry. Hit the mic. But I also got this. My Kickstarter stuff came in for Tales of the Valiant. So it came with the DM screen. Okay. I haven't tried anything in it yet. If anybody's played Tales of the Valiant yet, let me put some comments. Tell me. Join the Discord so we can chat about it, because I haven't tried anything. It's 5e compatible. And that's cool, but oh god. I haven't even, like, I did open the books. It is pretty. This is like the box. Got some nice, beautiful artwork here. But here's the player's guide, and it's very nice. I just don't know what the differences are. I know it gives like a lot of different options, and it's 5e compatible. So, you know, I just haven't even read it yet though, because it came in like while other stuff in my life was happening. Have you seen the documentary Eye of the Beholder talking about the early TSR artists? No. Where is the documentary? Like, what is it on a streaming service? Do I have to buy it? Kind of idea. And then this is the monsters. Which, again, I like the design. I do think it's very clean. Did they ever say if Tales of the Valiant would get Foundry support? I don't know. But isn't it technically 5e? So would they need Foundry support? Or would they just make like modules to add all the options in? You know what I mean? Or do they have to make their own? I don't know. Questions. All the questions I have. I haven't played any of this yet. So, and I haven't even looked anything up about it. I supported them because I liked some of the things I saw in the early like playtest stuff, but I haven't kept up with it, and so, you know, we might have to run this game. Also, I haven't played D&D in, oh god, that's horrible, like a month. So I'm feeling the itch, but the problem is all these cons I'm going to another con, but it's for fun, so I don't have to work. But yeah, so that's Tales of the Valiant. So if anybody's like started messing around with this and whatever, join the Discord server. There's links everywhere in the description, there's some on the channel, whatever, because I would love to like chat about it and the differences, and I don't know, I'm sure there are videos out there too I could watch. But yeah, so those are like all the things I've gotten. You believe it's on Netflix, the documentary Eye of the Beholder. Fun facts, I don't have Netflix. I don't purchase streaming services. I have YouTube, and that's about it. Though I'm sure I could find someone who would let me borrow their Netflix for an evening. But yeah, so there's that. We only took up about 40 minutes going through my haul. So we could make maps. We could do Foundry. Do people have questions on Foundry or question? Not that I'm like an expert. I mean, I know I put a lot of tutorials out there, but I just wing it, guys. And then I figured this out. I should share that with the rest of you because I feel like there's a lot of tutorials out there that are like, here's how you can do everything, and that's great. Um, Except I don't need to know how to do everything. Normally, I need just this one tiny aspect, and I want a 2-minute tutorial. So that's what I try to do. Um, I do have some modules that I'm gonna have to install. Has everybody updated to version 12 yet? Because I did, but I haven't turned any modules on, and so I'm a little bit nervous about that. It seems like most are working though. And I have too many installed right now anyway. I have a lot because when I was doing Run My One Shot, Jerry liked to have a lot of his stuff automated and like animated, which is great. And I did enjoy it, but I don't care that much about all that kind of stuff. And in general, I use Foundry um in my eyes, Foundry is a supplement, right? So it doesn't have to make the game. It doesn't have to do everything, because you really don't need Foundry. So typically, what I like to do is I like to play in person and then have the map on. We have a TV that we lay on the table. We built a frame for it, and we use minis on the table. So I mostly use it for that and for music. But otherwise, like, I don't really use Foundry in that sense. And I've been thinking about just taking a lot of the automations off because I do feel like you don't learn the game that way. But you guys tell me what you guys enjoy. I'm gonna try a couple new modules for a sponsorship next week. Hopefully I can get that done next week. I haven't done anything this week because again, I'm fighting burnout. Which is also good that I'm not playing D&D because then I would take that burnout would bleed into running the game, which I don't like when that happens. Um, but I'm fighting this burnout, and I think I finally gotten to a place like I'm feeling much better today. Finally rested, had a couple days without baby. It was all great. Um, but yeah, so I don't know, we could do some map making. What do you guys want? You tell me. Because map making, I don't talk as much. Because I focus. I can't use Foundry for one of my core groups because it's too intense for her laptop. Interesting. So I also wonder if it's Chrome. Sometimes I've heard it actually works better in Firefox. Somebody correct me. Um, like trying different what's the word? Browsers can help with that. Also, though, screen size is a big issue. So my husband has a laptop that has a 4K screen, and if he plays on that, he has to shrink the browser size so it doesn't take up the full width because otherwise it's too intense and it lags. So you could try adjusting the browser size. I know that sounds stupid because I think it's stupid. You should be able to use your 4K monitor as intended, but I don't know if that's fixed with version 12 either. You never know with these things. There's a lot of things they fix between. But yeah. Can't use Foundry for your core groups. That kind of sucks though, especially if you've put a lot of stuff into Foundry, like monsters, maps, that kind of thing. Yeah. Or you could still use it behind the screen though. Does anybody have a screen? I really want, this is on my wish list, is I want to build a DM screen with an actual screen in it. But I'm not like handsy. I'm not handy with I'm not handy with wood or wood tools or, saws or anything. So I feel like that's what I would want though, is to make it out of wood and then put the screen in it. And then I could put stuff up there like the initiative or whatever, or pictures that I have on Foundry, things like that. But I don't know. I'm subjected to using Roll20 for my groups. Currently got 20 plus people in my newest West Marches. Ooh. Here's hoping it doesn't crash or lag soon. I don't use Roll20. The only times I've used Roll20 were playing in other people's campaigns. So I've probably used it for maybe 12 or 16 hours. Like, not a lot. A couple sessions. And I absolutely hated it. I don't know how it is on the GM side, because on the player side, it was just so clunky. It was just so hard to use for me personally. But I understand that like a lot of DMs have everything in there, and it's got a lot of resources, so I totally get why people use it. Foundry can also be clunky if you're not cognizant of what you need and don't need. So Roll20 feels more laggy performance-wise to me. I think it is, honestly, because Roll20 tends to have, it's been around for like so long, and my husband's a software developer, so I know how like a big company like that, he works for a big company, all the hands are in the cookie jar, so everybody's like adding new things and not necessarily making it the most, what is the word I'm looking for? Like efficient is the word. And they're doing hot fixes and workarounds, so it just makes it clunkier and clunkier, and that is what helps contribute to lag and performance issues. So agreed. I think because Roll20 is older and it's been around for a long time, that has happened. However, I do think that can happen with Foundry too, because if you think about it, it's the same mentality. Yes, one guy has made Foundry, but all of the different modules, those are also all the different hands in the cookie jar. So if you have a whole bunch of different modules and they're all relying on each other, it's the same goddamn thing as Roll20, which is also why I don't always recommend like having a lot of modules. Like, yes, you can tailor Foundry as much as you want, but I am one of those people who I'm like, I would rather keep it to a short list, which I need to go through and delete a whole bunch because I'm feeling overwhelmed with it already, because updating from version 11 to version 12 is going to be hell. Like, I have updated, but I haven't turned any modules on because I just don't know which ones will work and all of that. And you don't really need all of those, to be honest. Like, there's a few that are super helpful, but you don't need them. So how would you handle extensive multi-tier maps like the one that Ravenloft uses in its module? Oh, so you need, in the past, I would have put in each level on different scenes, and then I would use Monk's active tile triggers. I don't know. I honestly thought version 12 was going to have their own built-in version of this, but so far I don't think it does. But I would use Monk's active tile tokens to set like the stairs or whatever as a teleportation point and just teleport to each part of or each level. You can also do it, I've done it before, where I've built one map and then just boxed off each floor. If they're small, you wouldn't want to do this if it's like a massive map, but you could box off each floor and then just like a tower. I'm thinking of a tower. And you could just hop levels like that. Still with the teleportation thing, you just teleport to different points on the map. As a GM, I only use Roll20 for my Vampire the Masquerade group. Do they have Vampire the Masquerade for Foundry? Questions I have. I have too many modules. How many is too many? That's my question. Because I know some people who have like 150. And he knows who I'm talking about. Slowly but surely bouncing between the maps is someone's answer. Someone was selling that DM screen on Etsy. This one? Or no, the one I was talking about with the screen in it. They had a DM screen, and on the other side of the DM screen is an LCD for visual backgrounds maps. The YouTuber Powerword Spilt. That's exactly what I was thinking, because I watched his video on making that screen, and I was like, I could maybe do that. But then I'm like, no, I don't have the woodworking skill. You know, it's one thing to be good at paper. Wood is a totally different medium. I love the Fantasy Calendars website instead of the calendar module in Foundry because it determines the weather for me. Oh, interesting. Used to use Roll20. Been using Foundry for the past 3 years and never looked back. Right, me too. Except even it was more like, I want to run a game. I don't want to run it in Roll20 because of my experience as a player. Also, the constant monthly payments for fewer resources didn't help. Yeah, man. Like, that was the other thing. I don't like paying subscriptions ever. That's also why I don't have Netflix. I mentioned that earlier. I don't have Netflix because I don't want to pay for an additional subscription when I can still be equally as entertained on YouTube. Although I do pay for YouTube Premium for myself and some of my family because I hate ads. I say as I probably have 1 or 2 ads in this live stream. Sorry, but I do have to make money. But I just don't want to pay extra subscriptions. I have YouTube. That's all I need. I'll check. You have 50 modules? That's still too many. I have about 42 or 43 last I checked, and I'm like, this is too many. I need to drop it down to, I liked having 20. 20 was a good, nice round number. Pretty much everything. Although I don't count modules that are like resources, you know, like compendiums of maps or compendiums of music. Those don't really count to me because you don't have to have them on every server. You know what I mean? What else is in here? Wow, this is very, very lively chat this time. I don't normally get a very lively chat, and it's kind of making me a little happy here. So there's a module called Levels that allows you to stack maps on top of each other and move tokens automatically between levels without changing the scene. Yes, and there are some people who sell maps for Foundry that already use levels, so you should look into that too. I cannot think of them right now, but they're all on Patreon. I think the Mad Cartographer does. I'd have to look it up again, but I'm not sure. They do have it for Foundry, but I found that it was better on Roll20. Oh, Vampire the Masquerade. Okay. The rest of my games are on Foundry. Do you prefer Foundry then? Instead of Roll20? What makes the Roll20 Vampire the Masquerade one better? I'm curious. Also, have you played other of their games, like Werewolf and... What was the other one? There's like a Hunter one. I haven't even played Vampire the Masquerade, which is upsetting because I bought all the books. But, you know, it's fine. Roll20 is there to hold a character sheet and roll dice. That's about it. You could do that with D&D Beyond as well, and that's free for 6 characters. But, you know, it's the same thing. You can roll dice on there as well. How much do you think having less modules affects performance? It depends on the modules. I think if... so I don't want to call him out, but I will. I'm also in someone else's campaign, and he has a, what is it? It's a Forge server. I don't know how he set it up. I don't know if he put all these modules on there, but he has so many modules on there. Anytime that he needs to have an assistant DM, it completely shuts down. So I think it really just depends on a lot of things. Your server as well. Like if you're running it from your computer better be, you know, hot shit. I'm not supposed to swear on stream. Hot. It better be hot. And if you also have just like a lot of modules that rely on each other, I think that also slows it down. And then the number of players you have trying to access your server from, because you have to think too, they're trying to access your network and stuff, and I'm sure that probably slows it down. I don't know that there's a concrete number to give you and be like, don't go above this number. You know, I think it highly depends on, because you have to think each module is made by an individual creator, right? So each module, you have no idea like how the code is set up, and the code you can sometimes from history. I know my husband has taken code bits that were 2,000 lines and condensed them into 25. So you got to think, if you have 2,000 lines instead of 25 lines of code, that's going to affect the performance level of the module. Okay, anyway, So many great questions. Not a fan of the, oh, wait. I think, oh, I have someone with a low-end PC. I mean, they just need to be able to, it's probably partially their browser, but they also, like, most of the stuff is running from the GM's computer or the server. So it shouldn't affect the players that much. But it's more about their internet speed, because I also had a player who was, she was connecting remotely and her internet was garbage. And so, and I know this because she'd get kicked off of the like calls, because we would voice chat as well, you know, all of that. So it was her internet. So you have to make sure they have good internet more than anything if it's a player thing. Not a fan of subscription services either. Currently trying to find something to replace Grammarly with. Oh God, I hate Grammarly, but I also like it because I have so many typos. As another software dev, calculating the performance hit is quite hard in general. I don't envy you for sure, because Foundry runs on a server, but some stuff is rendered in the client. So it depends on the module. Yes, that is what I just said. I bet you use Affinity instead of Photoshop. How did you know? We did not fix that problem, Evan. It's not fixed. I have about 15. Yeah, well, you know, those are goals, okay? I had a player who really wanted to automate a lot of the stuff. And also, Flint, please don't knock things down. He wanted to automate a lot of the stuff and also add a lot of animations. And for some reason that meant having, I think I installed, for Jerry, I think I installed like 10 or 15 modules just for him. So those we don't need. From what some of the module makers have stated, like Ripper93, it's better to keep it under 100 for performance and for your players, since they have to load it as well from their end. Sort of, yes. Is there another way to play D&D 5e on Foundry without getting a D&D Beyond subscription? I feel obligated to use it because of the lack of the official resources. You don't need a D&D Beyond subscription. I don't have a D&D Beyond subscription. There is a rule set built into Foundry that is for 5e. The problem is if you want to use content in Foundry that you have purchased, because the stuff in Foundry is just going to be from the SRD, because Wizards has everything on lockdown. Although supposedly they're adding more stuff, highly doubt, don't trust them. So the other thing you can do, which is technically, everybody's like, it's not illegal. It technically is illegal. But you can get the D&D Beyond importer. You can pay 1 month subscription to that guy to get the ability to pull all the stuff you have on D&D Beyond, which again, you don't need a subscription to have stuff on D&D Beyond. And it'll essentially, it's scraping the website, which isn't technically illegal, but it is against their terms of service, which means they could stop it at any time, by the way. But you could scrape the website essentially and then import it into Foundry, and then you never have to do that again. And then you can cancel your subscription to the Patreon, which is like a couple bucks. It's like $8 or something, and you'd only need it for the one time kind of scraping it. Otherwise, you're putting everything in by hand. There are also other modules. There's like, what is it? Stat block, 5e stat block importer. So if you just want to import monsters, you can literally, it'll take the picture of a stat block and like pull the information out of it and put it into Foundry for you. There's a couple other ones. So yeah, you don't need a D&D Beyond subscription. I don't have one, because I don't want it. Hunter the Reckoning, that is the other one. There's about a dozen Monster the Objective games though in World of Darkness. Yes, those are the only 3 I know of though. Is there a Skullport map module already made for? I don't know what Skullport is. I would have to look that up. I very much prefer to play in person. Sadly, 1 game a week is not enough for me, so I have to GM online because I only have 1 group to play in person, though the group is getting slowly bigger. Oh, okay. Well, I prefer playing in person. I also love maps. If I had time, if I were a professional GM and I could get paid for it like other people on the internet, I would totally do miniatures. I would do the whole shebang. I would do the terrain. I would do the miniatures. The problem is I'm also a mom. No, there's no time. And then I also, the painting would take forever. You know, like, and I want it to be perfect. I feel like it could be relaxing, but I think it could be a lot of work. So that would be one reason I would want to play in person. But because we don't play in person, it made me get Foundry. And then I also learned Dungeon Draft because of that. And Dungeon Draft still provides very beautiful maps, and I enjoy map making in general. So I like that. And you don't have to paint minis. So, but I love terrain. I have a friend who's really into Warhammer, which I know is not quite the same, obviously, but they have all those little minis, and he hand paints at his entire 300 mini army, and he paints them little details. And I don't want to say I'm envious, because I feel like Warhammer is a one of those hobbies. It's like TCGs, like you spend a lot of money on it, and I don't have, you know, a lot of money. So I'm like, I don't need to do that. But yeah, so I'm not exactly envious, but every time I go to his house, I'm like, what did you paint now? Because I like want to see all the new things he's done. And apparently Warhammer I've never gotten into Warhammer, you guys can tell me, but has really good story and like world building and stuff. Can you get off the desk, buddy? Okay, here, come here. Okay, cat interference. Ow, ow. Claws. Okay. Okay. Question for everyone. What's your take on paid TTRPG sessions? I'm joining one tomorrow out of curiosity, mostly, and am really curious about the general opinion on it. Someone just asked this in the Discord. I don't know if it was you, because the name is different. I personally have not hired someone to GM a game for me. However, I do know someone who does that for a living. Technical is the best kind of legal, is it? Here's someone said, I've pro DM'd, and it definitely adds an air of taking the time seriously. It can really help with showing up to the session and taking the time set aside by everyone with respect. I dig it. That's exactly what my friend said. So he told me that having that added currency to it, like having to pay someone for their time makes everyone at the table take it a little bit more seriously. That means, you prepare for your like his players were preparing for his sessions, things like that. Like people always showed up because you're paying someone and things like that. So I think that it's not necessarily bad. I think that if someone can make a living off of it, kudos to them, because I think it would be really, really hard. It would be a lot of work, especially because to make a living off of it, you'd have to run multiple games. And I can't even run 2 games at a time. So for someone to do that for a living, I think, and make enough money to make it worth something, I don't know. Kudos to anybody who can do that. As someone who's about to run a paid game online, it's all about your expectations. There are tons of free games, but paid means experience, effort, and dedication. Yes, but I also think the other thing you have to keep in mind is that everybody has to start somewhere. So people who are trying to do this for the first time, run paid games, give them a little leeway. I'm sure those people also give discounts and stuff, but yeah, Warhammer is a costly hobby. Beautiful cat. Thank you. That is Flint. He's a chonker. He's a big cat. He's like this long. He refuses to leave me alone when I sit in this chair, which is fine. I like cuddling him, but he's like, I think he wants to play. So he keeps trying to get in my lap and then jump down and follow me. I'm not doing it. Oh my God, got stuff I'm doing. When I play games, he's literally just in my lap the whole time. I want the unidentified magic item module for Foundry to update. Is it not updated for version 12? I love the idea of not knowing what the strange rock you found in a pocket is at first. Yeah, I do like that idea. I think in 5e, maybe someone else can put some perspective on this, but I feel like in 5e it's so easy for many different spellcasters to have like identify object or whatever. Is that what it's called, the spell? Because we played which one did we play? Rime of the Frost Maiden, and we had a bard. And I'm sure if Adam was here, he'd be like, "Oh, a bard." We had a bard, and she was very good at like just instantly like identifying things, and I think that made the GM a little bit like, I don't want to say upset, because like that's a strong negative emotion, but it just like slightly disappointed, because he was like looking forward to us trying to figure it out, whereas like literally identify just gives you all that information. And so I think it's kind of hard to for certain groups, not all groups, but I feel like it's hard to keep those things secret. Yeah, okay. Pro DMing must be stressful. Yeah, I agree. I think pro DMing would be extremely stressful. For me personally, I do it only for fun. So I only play D&D for fun. I mean, I guess technically I get paid, but not really. Not enough to be like, I get paid to do D&D online. It's not like that at all. Yeah, doing it pro would be, even streaming it, I get nervous because I'm like, people are watching this. Like, it's one thing to do it with your friends and family or like people you met online or whatever. It's another thing to have like 1,000 people watch you on the internet. It could be pretty crazy. Not that there's that many in this, but in live streams I don't normally get that many viewers. But it's still the thought of, what if this takes off and everybody wants to watch it, it's a little bit too much for me. Is there an updated one that you know? I don't know. Someone says, that's exactly my superficial take on it, although I must admit it's far more expensive than I thought. Is it? How much do you pay for? People pay $20 for a movie that lasts 1.5 hours. Money spent versus money enjoyment receives is different for everyone. That's true. There are some people, I think it's like $15 an hour. But if you think about it, I don't know if that's what you're paying. And who knows what quality $15 an hour for GMing would be. But if you think about it, like, that's like minimum wage in some states in the US. Is not in PA because we're still at $7.25. Isn't that disgusting? But yeah, like minimum wage, think of it that way. But then if you think about it, it's like thought work. And if you were to ask someone to do thought work for you on an hourly basis, like web development or something like that, I think they can charge like $60, $75 an hour. Design works too, so I think it all just depends on how much money you're willing to spend, how much enjoyment you get out of the game, and then the skill level and experience level of the GM. But I think there's no standard. Is there? Like, is there a standard? I don't think so. Especially when you consider that it's reoccurring, usually weekly, a weekly expense, maybe, or bi-weekly. I feel like as much as I would love to play weekly, I think that would be too much stress for me as a GM, as well as a player, because it's a commitment weekly. And normally games are on the weekend. And so when do you get any other thing done? And this is the mama in me, right? Like, I have a toddler and we do a lot of things and we want to make sure family gets to see her. We want to make sure, we get her outside so she's not an introverted gamer like her mom and her dad. So, like, we try to like get her to do activities and things. When do you get to do that except on the weekends? Because my husband works a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. My job is whenever I have time. So it's like, yeah, it's crazy. Continuing my last measure, I could probably just make an unidentified version of the item to give to my players and disable the module. You could also, yeah, and then you could have the other one. You could even, there's actually, no. There's a thing you could do. Wait for it. there, you can put notes on, it's built into Foundry. You can put notes on your item that only the GM can see. So then when they like go to identify it, you could always just copy and paste it out of that description and into another one. I'd have to look it up, but there's a way to do it built into Foundry. There's some pro DMs charging 40 to 50 per person per session. That's a ton for sure. I've charged 20, and with 5 players, I'd run the game for 4 hours to prep for that same amount, so it's earning less. Oh, wait, 20 times 5, so that's 100 for 4 hours. That's not a lot of money. You should be charging more. I'm like, I know that's like, I'm not one to tell you to do things for cheap, because I know how much time it takes to do things and create things. It's one thing though, if you're just running pre-made modules, then maybe you could charge that. Because you're not homebrewing, you're not like creating things, but like, the way I see it too, like, I'm sure you just pull maps from the internet and all of that stuff. Like you take, I don't want to say shortcuts, but there are shortcuts you can take that still provide a good game. I would charge more. My time is valuable. Your time is valuable. So make sure you're charging what you're worth. I'm like, as much as I want to keep things cheap for people, I also know how much time it takes to be creative, to create things, to gather all the materials you need for a session, to advertise that you run games as a pro DM. All of that stuff is also overhead time that you have to consider. So charge more. Yeah, I feel like you though, I'm in the EU, so slightly different salaries. Also, player count should be taken in as input if we want to calculate the action. That is true. It should be, because if you running a game for 3 players versus 7 players, I ran a game for 7 players. Would not recommend. That's different, like. Also, trying to make sure they all have the spotlight. Oof, yeah, that would be, you definitely have to charge. You could just increase the hourly rate, I guess, at that point. We got really, really businessy all of a sudden. you guys got asking the hard business questions. I'm not an expert. There's caveats here, little asterisks. I'm not an expert on this stuff. I just run a business. That doesn't make me an expert on business management. 5 players, $20 for 4 hours is about $25 an hour. Yeah, but it's still, I don't know. I feel like it's 5 players though. Still a lot. I don't know. You could charge more. Anyway, back to other things, I guess. We can move on from the, that was intense. I like that you guys are all like, it's also 1:10 and I was only going to stream for about an hour, which is crazy. An hour has gone so fast. $1 million, someone says. Charge $1 million. See if anybody bites. Oh, who would bite though? Like, it'd have to be like celebrities. You would be running a game for celebrities. That'd be pretty cool though, right? You could be, unless you don't know them, like me. I don't watch a lot of movies. People always are like, have you seen this? And I'm like, no, I don't have time for movies. I didn't have time for movies before baby. Why would I have time for movies now? If I had $1 million, I would. What would you do? Tell me in the chat. If you had $1 million, I would take an actual vacation, and maybe hire a personal assistant. Dr. Evil, it's your turn. What are you doing? I would get into that very expensive D&D game. Which one? You mean D&D? Because D&D is very expensive. It's a very expensive hobby. Or are you talking like Baldur's Gate 3? Also expensive, but less expensive than D&D. But still feels like D&D. We just spoilers, took care of Cazador in Baldur's Gate 3. And made some hard choices last night that I didn't realize were super hard until we made them, and I was like, oh, well, it's fine. But I kind of like it because it's like, I like it and I don't. It feels very D&D, but then there's times where you're like, there's not enough information in these 3 choices to make a good decision. And in D&D, you'd be like, wait, you know, and you talk about it. Asterion ascended or not? I don't want to. Is this that's spoilery, isn't it? Stop. What if people haven't played or gotten to the third act? He did not. But yeah, so also in the first, this is fun facts. When I first played Baldur's Gate 3, Asterion, I accidentally romanced him. I didn't even mean to, but I was like, oh, you're nice. And, you know, I'm just like, I was like being nice to everybody. And then suddenly he was like, can I bite you? And I was like, oh boy. I don't have the performance to run Baldur's Gate 3. Yeah, it's beefy. I closed my ears. But yeah, it's a beefy game. In fact, I'm hoping we get through soon so that I can uninstall it so I can install other games. But also, I need to finish. I've been playing Horizon Zero Dawn, the first one, which I'm very much enjoying. And also Baldur's Gate 3 with a friend. So, with Evan, actually. But yeah, so it's been fun, but it's like, sometimes the choices they give you, I'm like, I need more information than this one line choice. What about your eyes, though? But yeah, so I guess we could close it out unless anybody else has any questions they want to ask, any other discussion topics. You can drop it in the chat. I'll give you guys a minute. One of my friends actually got into D&D from Baldur's Gate. The Baldur's Gate 3 or Baldur's Gate, like, the first one? Because if we're honest, Baldur's Gate, like, the original Baldur's Gate, probably piqued my interest in all RPGs. The third one, okay. Yeah, the third one is good. Physical dice versus digital dice. Go. Physical. Wait, where's my... Oh, my dice bag's upstairs. It is. Otherwise, I'd be like, here's all my physical dice. I would even... That's also why I like playing in person. Yeah, physical. Look at all these people. Good people. Good community members. Physical is the way to go. Because, it's like the sound of the die on the table. Also, it's the ability to put them in dice jail when they're bad to you. I like that as well. I bought a really nice dice jail when I was in Cleveland. And it's wood and it collapses and it's got these metal bars and you can put it underneath and it's like magnetic so you can hold all... I'd have to show it off. I don't have it here because it's with my dice bag, which is probably upstairs. But you have to be able to punish the die that... you know, I'm one of those. I'm horrible. I would have more die if they weren't so expensive because I don't buy the cheap ones. You know what I mean? What's a dice jail? Is it what I think it is? It is exactly what you think it is. It's a place to punish your nat ones. Don't step on that. Thank you. Hope your paws aren't wet. Digital. They can do so many more cool things. Also less dealing with people in person. I mean, you're right. You're not wrong. And they can do some cool things, but the physical die. Also, though, I think rolling algorithms aren't always correct, because they're too perfect. Isn't that a thing? Like algorithms in general on chance are sometimes they're just not accurate. Someone tell me. I'm speaking out of my tuchus right now. Future dice showcase video, a la Jenny D. I've seen hers and oh my god, they're so pretty. I don't have as many as her because they're expensive. If people were to send me some, that'd be different. But I ran 1,000 plus sessions online, only 10 in person. Oh, I want to say that's sad, but you can totally run games with like cameras and stuff too, and it feels like it's in person. Funnily enough, they're not really random. You mean the algorithms? They're scripted to look random. Yeah. I just can't get into turn-based RPGs. Still prefer Baldur's Gate 2. What do you mean by turn-based RPGs? Like Final Fantasy or like Pokemon. Pokemon's a turn-based. They are scripted to look random, contrary to physical dice, which are perfectly random. Yes, they are perfectly random, which is good and bad. For me, I do other people have this? Like, there are some sessions where you're on the ball and everyone is like above 18, and then there's some sessions where it's like everything's below 5. Like, what is that kind of, is it karma? Is that what it is? Maybe it's not random. Maybe there's some sort of spirit and she's messing with my dice. My most expensive die is a D20 that costs 35 euros, which would be what, like $40? I don't know. Someone do the math. My most expensive die costs $75. It's real pretty though. Actually, even these ones cost 60. Did I show those? I showed them earlier. Even these ones cost 60. I don't buy cheap die because I want this. They have sparkles in them. You can't see very well. I don't buy cheap die. I buy die that I like, which may or may not. This one side is not shiny. They did not polish that side. Calling them out. But yeah, those are handmade, so that's why. Wood dye. You have wood dye? I don't have wood dye. They make those? Technically you could code true randomness, but it's really hard. Yeah, see? How is a dice that expensive? $75 expensive? Because they're handmade. So there are people who have you ever watched, there's someone on there on YouTube who hand makes dice. Watch some of his stuff. One, it's really relaxing. But there's so many steps to making acrylic dice. And dice, I don't know. English is a hard language. But they have, you have to make the cast form, you have to make the acrylic, you have to like combine two things and put them together. And then if you want to put like stuff inside them, that's a whole process. And that's the stuff I get. Like, I have dye with little figures inside them with glitter and liquid cores. I have metal. Yeah, man, dice can get really expensive. I almost bought one that was $140 because they were really, really pretty. But I have not. I believe they mean Baldur's Gate 2 is real time. You can make strategic decisions by pausing the game, but Baldur's Gate 3 has turn orders, which the prior ones didn't. Oh, yeah, okay. I guess Baldur's Gate 2 is real time. It's been a long time since I played that. What about Neverwinter? Was that one real time? I can't remember. Did you know you can get Neverwinter on the Switch? You can get Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 on the Switch as well. I have them. I haven't played them, but I have them. Not on the Switch. I played them when they were on the PC. And you had like 6 discs, and you had to put a new disc in as you got further along. Now you can literally just download it on your Switch, and you don't need a cartridge or anything. What is this? Does that show my age? I'm not gonna ask, but gemstone dice. There are gemstone dice? Excuse? It's a bigger D20. Okay. I really don't like real time with pause, but BG1 and BG2 are masterpieces. They are. Has anybody played the ones on Xbox? What is it called? Dark Alliance? I played the crap out of those. As I was like, I think I was in middle school. I don't know. I had an Xbox. I think it's on original Xbox. I played the crap out of those. They were fun. I played the cleric lady. So I was constantly doing Sacred Flame on everything. Anyway. I wonder how they make the density equal. So that's a whole thing. And you can, that dice maker, I'll have to find it. That dice maker like shows you how to test your die too, to see like the roll, like if they are truly equal and all of that. Yeah, I have no idea. I saw a bunch of people were obsessed with that floating dice tray. Oh yeah, I've also seen those floating dice. Is it floating or like, I don't know. Oh, and then there's those coin die. Evan has coin die. I'm jealous. I saw a bunch of people. Okay. Like Dragon Age. Wait. Is Dragon Age turn? Oh yeah, I played Inquisition. Don't yell at me. I only played the third game. Yeah, I played Inquisition, and that one. You could do it either, because you could do like first person, and then you could zoom out and do like the overhead view that felt more like Baldur's Gate 1 or 2. Same, way back when. Let's not talk about it. Yeah, just like Dragon Age, it's the same developers. Oh, is it? I didn't know that. I wasn't paying attention. This is also a joke that Minsk makes in Baldur's Gate 3 when he says he's not used to taking turns. Oh, no, now I understand. I hacked my Xbox One back when you had to solder a PLC onto the motherboard to jailbreak it. I never did that. I was a good girl. I did not break my Xbox. I still have it, in fact. It's over there. I also have this one. You can't see. Maybe you can see. No, the book is in the way. You see these two Xbox controllers? Underneath that is an Xbox. It's my grandfather's Xbox, actually. When he passed away, my mom turned it into a lamp because it didn't work anyway. And so she turned it into a lamp for me because we used to play a lot of games on that. Dragon Age 1. You don't watch movies because you like games more. It's true. I don't have time for movies and games. And games take like 60 plus hours. Is pause based or whatever the word for that? I don't know. Neverwinter Nights was real time with pausing unless you played multiplayer. I played multiplayer. I actually played with my mother. Fun facts. Movies are boring. They're always the same thing every time. RPGs, you get to write and rewrite the story. You're not wrong. I agree with this. I don't know that they're boring per se because I love the Harry Potter movies and I like well, I read the books first though. So there's that. And then also I don't know, there's some like that you watch that are just like feel good, so it's not really about the plot, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's a great idea. I wonder if my Xbox One still works. Yeah, I have that's an original Xbox. That's not an Xbox One. This one over here. But I have a collection. Maybe one day we can go through the collection when I actually arrange it because I've been meaning to also put some shelves up, get it all up. So there's still boxes since we moved in November. Still boxes. There are quite a few gemstone dice, though they are usually a very bad idea practically. They can be fragile and rather expensive. Really? But I want some. They could just sit on the shelf. I have these too. These are dice, but they're like, oh no. I can't roll them because of the way they are made, but there's actually, it looks better if I show this one. It's like Mario. Anybody play Mario Party? It's like the Mario Party like dice that you roll. They're all like that though. So it's hard to see myself here. But the problem is, if you look at it, you see how bumpy it is. So when you roll it, it doesn't actually land on any flat surface, so it doesn't pick a number for you. So the D20 is completely useless. You can use a D6 and like the D4. I think I tried the D8 and that one was okay, but any of these more round ones you just can't use. So they're now just display. But it sucked because this was my Christmas gift from my husband, and it was also late. It came in January. So, and then he was like super disappointed. He's like, you can't even roll them. And I was like, you can roll some of them. But yeah, so they're on display more. Do they have display shelves for dice? I put gemstone dice in there. I like metal ones too. I have one. Oh, we should just bring my dice downstairs. I have one that is metal and it has this purple, it's like copper. Obviously we're talking about metal dice. It's copper and it has this purple, like sparkly, I don't know, like amethyst colored, like ribbing to it, I guess is what you say. I don't know, like it swirls around it. They're very pretty. And then I have one that is just green because I don't know if you know, but my favorite color is probably green. Although I like pink a lot too. Imagine Mercury dice. What do you mean? Elaborate. But yeah, I like copper, I guess. If I'm gonna go with metal, it's copper. Cause like look at it. Look at this copper. It's pretty. Um, Although I like silver too. I'm not a gold girl, so I'm less expensive, maybe. If you can play at negative 272 degrees Celsius, so heavy they don't roll, Jesus. No thanks. I want to be able to roll my dice. They would be pretty cool though. All right. We've gone on a long tangent on dice. Any other last minute questions? I'm going to close out the stream. You have 3 minutes. Get your questions in. I'm closing it out at 1:30. Um, I do think I'm gonna just play more games today. I'm taking the day off. I I'm feeling much better, less burnout after the craziness. But next week I'm going to Otakon for fun. So if you're going to Otakon, join the Discord server. Otakon's in Washington D.C. So if you're not in the area, I don't know. Also, it's expensive, so don't go just to see me because it's not worth it. Um, but yeah, if you're already in the area, we could meet up. But yeah, this has been fun. I'm glad that like there were people here. I was like, this is so last minute. I literally posted it yesterday. I was like, I should have posted this on like Tuesday. So I'm glad that some people could join me. I'm glad we got to just chat and chill. If you like this kind of stuff, we can always do it more, I guess, but you'll have to let me know because I think the rambling is too much. But you guys apparently like it, so I don't know. Um, but yeah, no questions, but it's been great hanging out with you all. I'll let you know how the paid thing goes. Yes, are you on the Discord? If you're not, you should be on the Discord. You can update me there. I'm always on. I literally, you can't see it but I have a little monitor here. Literally just has Discord up all the time. Um, I also have to go. Nice to hear you live. It was nice to chat with you guys. I'm so grateful for all of you. So have a good rest of your day. Have a good weekend. I promise next week we will have regular content. I don't promise, actually. It could be, who knows. I am a person with a schedule. So, but yeah, so thanks for joining me. I'm glad we got to talk about dice. Maybe I'll make a dice video in the future. And I will see you guys, I guess, uh, in the next one. We're closing it out. Look, a minute early. Should I wait? No. Okay, bye.